as we discuss the state of our K-12 education system, I want to emphasize that the federal government does not dictate curriculum, nor should we. This was once a non-controversial bipartisan value, and I find it interesting that many of my colleagues view school curriculum as a state and local issue only when schools are teaching topics in a way they agree with. The majority titled this hearing Back to Basics, America's Founding, Civics and Self-Government in K-12 Curricula. Yet they often advocate to block the teaching of facts and ideas set by state and local communities. Based on today's testimony, one thing my colleagues and I can agree on is the importance of civics education. Students should be critical thinkers and informed participants in our democracy. They should know and understand accurate and culturally relevant history. I strongly support the great work of organizations like the National Center for Civics Education, which runs excellent programs like Project Citizen, with a civics education program for middle, secondary, and post-secondary students, as well as youth and adult groups. In my home state of Oregon, high school teams participate in the center's We the People competition, organized in Oregon by our local nonprofit Civics Learning Project. And I assure you that the students who participate know more about the Constitution than most members of Congress. And although we appear to support civics education, states and school districts ultimately decide what to teach their students. That is how our national public school system has worked since America's founding. So instead of spending time interfering with state and local decision-making, we should talk about issues that Congress does have the power to influence. We should talk about the unmet needs of students, particularly students with disabilities, students from low-income families, students of color, students who need counseling or behavioral health care, and youth experiencing homelessness or living in foster care. Today, committee Democrats will focus on one of those important issues, the infrastructure of our schools. Our committee should be finding ways to make real, tangible, and positive differences in the lives of students, teachers, and our communities. That's why we're here. School infrastructure is not just about walls and ceilings of school buildings. It's about the entire environment in which our children learn. And right now, far too many of these environments are unsafe, outdated, and desperately in need of repair. The average public school in America is more than 50 years old, and many have been crumbling for decades, long before the pandemic. Poor ventilation, broken heating and cooling systems, outdated plumbing, and lack of modern digital infrastructure, those are just a few of the issues that students and teachers face daily. These conditions are not only a distraction, they pose serious health and safety risks to the millions of children and educators who learn and work in these facilities. The need for investment in public schools is evident. That's why I want to emphasize the need for Congress to pass the Rebuild America's Schools Act, a crucial piece of legislation introduced by Ranking Member Scott and Representative Norcross. This bill represents a comprehensive investment in our schools' physical and digital infrastructure, focusing on those that face the most significant challenges, and that's especially true in high-poverty communities. And I didn't know we were going to talk about rankings today, so I didn't bring the statistics, but if you adjust for income and socioeconomic status, you're going to see very different results in school rankings. This investment is not just about repairing buildings. It's about investing in the health and safety of students and investing in our future as a nation. It's not just a moral imperative, it's an economic one. According to the Economic Policy Institute, each $1 billion spent on construction generates nearly 18,000 jobs. This means that the Rebuild America's Schools Act $130 billion investment would create more than 2 million jobs. When we invest in our schools, we're improving learning environments while also stimulating the economy by creating good-paying jobs across the country. And notably, nearly 54% of school districts report needing to replace or upgrade critical infrastructure in their school buildings. According to a 2020 GAO report, this neglect threatens students' health and academic success, and it's especially important in low-income and rural areas where it's harder to raise local and state revenue. We can and must do better. There are many important issues we need to address in education, and the condition of our school buildings should not be an afterthought. It should be a top priority. Let's leave the curriculum to our local school boards and states. Children cannot learn in unsafe environments, and a teacher cannot effectively teach in a building that's falling apart. So I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today. I hope we can all agree on the urgency of this issue. Our children, teachers, and communities deserve schools that are safe, healthy, and conducive to learning. Thank you, and I yield back.